Okay, the first thing you want to do is assemble your assets in a folder. So you want to create a folder and you want to put the things in that you're going to be using. And to know what things you need, you first should make a plan. And the plan, of course, would be a storyboard. So you make a storyboard and you decide, what do I need for this? What do I need for this? Well, I need to have 2 fish, a background, and I need to have titles, which I will create. First I'll create titles in Photoshop with layers using a text layer. And then at the end I'm going to have a the end and have some end titles, and I can do that actually in AfterEffects. So let's see how that works. I'm going to create a folder that will put all my stuff in that I'm going to be using. I've already got some things that I'm going to use as some of the sources. I've got an MP3 file that has sound and it's 15 seconds of bubbles. I've got a background I want to use. Here's Oceana 33. It's too big though, but I will have to edit that. And I've got freshwater fish. I can grab one of these fish and use that for one of my fish. So I know I need to put that into a folder. So let's make a folder, and I think we'll have to go in here and create a new folder. And now this folder is going to have a name that will help me understand that this is what I'm doing. This is my folder, and this is my tutorials folder. So I'm going to call it AE Tutorials, and this is my initials, VDK. Okay, so now I have a folder, and now I can come and get these objects that I have on my desktop, copy them, Command C, bring them into my folder, and paste them. So there they are. Okay, but I have to edit these, of course. And so that will be some of the files. I need to make an Illustrator file for one of the fish, and I can do that very easily by just opening up Illustrator. And here you see I've got my storyboard here. I can draw in my storyboard here. I could draw on my piece of vellum, which is what I showed you. And so I don't need to have this open anymore, but it doesn't matter. I'll just leave it there. New. And I want this document to be a web type document. I don't want it to be too big, but I want it to be big enough that I can get a reasonable size fish. So there we go. And I want to make sure that the fish has enough room that I'll be able to move the fins and change the position of everything. I'm going to have one layer is going to be the body of the fish. One layer, another layer, is going to be the fins that are on the side of the fish that actually move the fish. So this will be the side fins. I'll have another layer that will be the tail. I'll have another layer that will be the dorsal top. And then I need to have a bottom fin layer, so another layer for the bottom fin. Okay, get that all set up. I'm going to lock all the layers except the body. And now I'm using a plastic toy fish that I had sitting around as my source for the fish. I'm going to have this fish straight on. I'll draw just the body first. So I'll get the brush tool. No, let's get the pen tool, and I will give it a non-outline, so no stroke. And the fill, I want to be sort of a red-orange, and I'm going to draw on the body layer the fish's outline. So working from my sketches, I'm going to draw a fish. And I don't want to have his entire body other than nothing that has fins. I don't want any of the fins showing. And now that doesn't have a fill, so I'll have to set the fill again. It didn't like that fill for some reason. I will go ahead and get this nice orange color fill, and there it will be filled. And now I'm going to save that file, save, and I'm going to make sure that it's going into the correct folder. And I'm going to call this Fish 1. So that's my Fish 01, Illustrator CS5. And now I will go ahead and make the next layer. So locking this, we're doing the side fins. Let's make it a little bit lighter. And maybe give it a line that is very thin so that we can tell the difference between the body of the fish and the fins. Now I'll draw his side fins on. Okay, I'm going to save that. Go to the tail. We're going to draw this once again with the same color, same edge. And you can do things any way you want to. This is just the way I decided to do it just now. That doesn't mean I would do it this way at any other time. It's just the way I decided to do it at this moment. So you can always take some artistic license with things. It's not like everything's written in stone. And the top fin, I think I want to make this one a little bit deeper orange. And lock that one. And go for the bottom fins, which are back here somewhat, and they also were deeper orange, I think. And there we go. And I think I want to make the dorsal fin a little bit bigger. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to the body and I'm going to draw on his eyes. So we'll get the ellipse tool, select white for the fill color, and then draw his eye, and he has big bulgy eyes here. And now I'll give him a nice black pupil here, so let's go ahead and just and there we go. So there's our fish, and we can give him some nice painted lines on his fins and back because I want to give him a little bit more detail. It's probably make it heckishly large, but I don't care. Okay, so let's see, give him some fins, give him some gills, give him the edge of his lip. And then we can go ahead and give him some stripes on his fins. Okay, so once you've got it, let's save as. Make sure it's going to Fish 01 and save it. And we're done with that one. And now we can quit Illustrator. Once you have your Fish 01, your Illustrator file, then let's make a Photoshop file. So open up Photoshop. First, we need to open up the freshwater fish and the Oceano 33. Each of them we need to change so we can use them. So select them, open with, and choose Photoshop. We want to choose a fish that we can use for other fish. I'm going to use this bluish catfish, I think. It'll be a nice contrast to the reddish orange other fish. And you want to make sure that it's large enough that you can make it flop around and such. So here we go. I'm going to Command C to copy it to the clipboard. I'm going to open a new file and I'm going to say OK. We'll call it Fish 02 to make sure that we remember that's what we're going to call it, Fish 02. OK. Now we're going to edit, paste it. There it is. Now I'm going to want it to go the opposite direction. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to flip my canvas horizontal. I'm going to get rid of the extra stuff that I don't need. And the easiest way to do that is to encircle it with your lasso in a very rough way here. And now I'm going to select Inverse. I'm going to hit delete. And then I'm going to get my quick selection tool. I'm going to deselect first. And I'm going to select the area around the fish. And I think maybe I wanted to have this a little bit smaller. So let's take it down to 2 pixels. And I'm going to use my negative to remove things from the selection. Make it bigger so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to remove the whiskers from the selection. Because I want them to have whiskers. Okay, now I'm going to hit delete again to get rid of everything. I'm going to inverse my selection, so now the fish himself is selected, and I'm going to refine the edge, and I'm just going to feather it by the tiniest amount, so let's try 1 pixel. And that looks pretty good. Say OK. And I'm going to inverse select it again and hit delete one more time. And I'm going to deselect. I'm going to image first. Image size, check the image size, and I want to make sure that it's at least, yeah, it's about the same width as the other one. A little bit smaller, I think, but that's not going to be, it's about the same size. And now let's go ahead and canvas size. Let's make it taller. Let's make it 2 inches tall. This way we can make it jump around. Okay, now we'll save this as Fish 2 again, so save. And this is a PSD file with layers. Make sure that it goes to the correct location. And save that. Okay, so now I have my fish. Now we need to get the background. So here's the background, but it's too big. We want to make it smaller. So first, image size, we want to make it exactly the right width, which is 1280, but we want the height. We want the height smaller. And in order to get the height smaller, we're going to have to use canvas size. So using the canvas size, we're going to change the height to 720 pixels. And say OK. It's going to say you're cutting it, and that's fine. And now we're going to File, Save As, and so we remember that this is the one that we have edited. We're going to give it a different name. We're going to call it Oceano 720. And we want to save that with a quality of 8, so it won't be too big. And it is going to be a JPEG because we want it to be just a flat background. Okay, so that's all done. Now we can exit from here, so quit Photoshop. So now we have Oceano 720, we're going to use that for background, Fish 2, Fish 1, we've got Bubbles, which is the sound we're going to use, and that's a 15-second clip that I edited in Audition earlier. Okay, so we got that all set up. Now we're going to open up After Effects.